Oren, welcome. Thank you for spending some time with me. I'm going to do a quick scope here, 10 minutes long, real quick and easy here, getting down to the meat and potatoes of protein and why it's important. So we're just going to wait a few minutes here for a few people to jump on. In the meantime, guys, let me know where you're from. It's crazy cloudy here today and actually quite cold in Toronto, which is not uncommon. San Diego, please tell me it's warm in San Diego, because it's definitely not warm here. Base. Oh, we got some police action going on behind me. Martin, welcome. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day, spending it with me, talking about protein. What's up? Guys, if you're not gonna let me know, it's lovely, perfect. If you're not gonna let me know where you're from, please do. But if you're not, let me know what your favorite protein sources are, and that way I can kind of refer back to them as I'm going through this. It doesn't matter if they're animal-based, plant-based, doesn't matter. Yeah. All right, so we're going to start chatting here a little bit. Protein, why is it important? Any of you guys work out quite often? Whey isolate, egg whites, beans. I'm a veggie. All right, nice job. With the whey, you don't mind the whey protein powder being a plant-based person? You haven't tried like Vega or Sun Warrior? Those are usually pretty solid protein powders that I give my clients. Beautiful. Eggs, chicken, and shrimp. Awesome. I'm not a vegan. All right, my bad. I just realized you meant veggies and you eat veggies. That's a good thing. All right. So yeah, we're talking about protein here. If any of you guys live in Canada, we had an article released, I believe yesterday or the day before, in Macleans magazine, which if you're Canadian, you kind of know that magazine. But it's very similar to the Times magazine, I believe, in the States. So it's just basically common news that happens in Canada. Anyway, the article was protein, why we're obsessed with protein and why it's possibly dangerous to be obsessed with it. And really, to be short, the article was pretty bad. Okay, so this is what really inspired this scope today. And I want to kind of set some of the stuff I read in the article and kind of straighten that out a little bit, because it's not really correct. And there were some pretty horrible comparisons. Calling Cliff Bars protein bars and saying that if you miss carbohydrates in one meal, you were going to definitely go right to ketosis right away. And that's just not true, and it kind of blows my mind. But that said, the author of the piece was basically promoting a book called Proteinaholics. So obviously this piece was going to be biased because he feels that we are consuming way too much protein, and we're going to be, we're in a dangerous situation doing so. The media seems to think protein and creatine are crack. Yeah, no doubt. Huh? And it's funny because creatine is probably the most, I think, next to fish oil, or it may even be more than fish oil, the most studied supplement on the market. And it's completely safe, so there's no real issues there, which I don't know why the media keeps pounding on it, but whatever. All right, so we're going to talk, if you guys caught my scope yesterday, I kind of talked about protein, how important it was in a fat loss diet, and there's the RDA recommendation, and then there's the quote-unquote optimal recommendation. So for the RDA, that's just your recommended daily allowance, and that's enough protein that ensures that you are not going to have a deficiency. And that's great. Those numbers are fine, but none of us are really dying from protein deficiencies. So we want to have a little bit more protein, and the optimal range, it kind of varies depending on who you talk to. So I'm going to give you a real ballpark range here, and that's just to kind of cover the basis. So with my clientele, I like to give, especially my fat loss clientele, is 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Lolo 2009, welcome. And that's my recommendation for fat loss clients. If you are not a fat loss client, then you can stay, maintain that 1 gram or maybe like 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. Other people have said you could use like 12 to 15% of your daily calories as protein. That's totally fine as well. That I think works out to being like, I believe it was 0.6 to 0.8. So These are all great recommendations. There is probably an upper limit where you wouldn't want to go into like the 3 grams of protein per pound of body weight. That's probably a little bit too much. Again, I don't think there's any real detriment health-wise, but you're probably not going to be very nice to be around, let's just say that. I shoot for 250 per day and weigh around 200 pounds. I weigh 210 pounds. I'm at about 210 grams per day. My goals are hypertrophy right now. So for me, it's a little more important to get more calories in. So depending what your goal is, you could be bang on with that protein number and you are just fine. Do you find that difficult to maintain, getting 250 grams per day? Let me know. Okay, so that's the RDA and the optimal. Next up is, what's protein good for, man? Like, why is this so good? Protein is good for, on a fat loss diet, for people who are trying to, shed body fat. It's great because you are now not really have a system going. All right, as long as your system's working for you, you're doing just fine. Protein is great because on a fat loss diet, it has a higher satiating effect than, say, carbohydrates and fat. Joshua, welcome. And, that's a great thing for somebody who's on a fat loss diet because you don't want to walk around being hungry all the time. Protein also has the highest thermic effect of food. It's almost double that of carbohydrates and fat. And what that means is as much protein as you consume, more of that, which I believe is up to like 20 to 30% of protein that you consume, gets used as energy for digesting. So that's huge if you're thinking about how many calories you eat per day. If more of it goes towards protein, that means more of it's being burnt for digestion, absorption, assimilation, and whatnot. So CRC, welcome to the scope, my friend. And so that right there is a perfect reason to consume protein on a fat loss diet. Assimilation, you bet. So that's tough. We're going to go through some myths right now. Who here has heard of the myth of too much protein causes kidney disease or kidney failure? Let me know. Kurt, thanks for sharing my scope on Twitter. The rest of you guys are finding this information useful thus far. Definitely swipe to the right. Share it on Twitter for me. I'm still new to this, so give me some hearts if you're liking the information thus far. Don't worry if you want to wait till the end. I understand. Yeah, they love that one. Yeah, no doubt. The whole kidney thing is a bunch of BS. Thanks for the hearts, guys. Keep them going. The renal failure, I think that was done on one rat study, and all of a sudden now we have all this, human recommendations of protein. Oh my God, it's killer, and it's really not. So don't worry about that. Like I said, though, the upper echelon of like 3 grams per pound of body weight is probably too much protein because you're not going to be very nice to be around, if you catch my drift. All right, so protein, kidney disease, that's BS. Who here has heard of too much protein causing bone loss or bone damage? Any guys hear that? Hit me some likes if you've heard it, or if you want to say yes, that'd be great. Nobody? All right. Well, that's a common myth that a lot of people kind of spout out that protein, too much protein, especially animal protein, basically sucks out the calcium and whatnot from your bones. And as long as you are getting enough calcium and vitamin D from your diet naturally, you are in no real. What's that? That's a new one for me. Okay, I guess that's just something because I'm a nutritionist. I also hear this a lot. But yeah, if you're getting calcium and vitamin D, you're getting your daily allowance of those. There's no real warning or no real issue of protein sucking those nutrients out of your bones. So don't worry about that. Okay, another myth. Okay, so I think some of you guys work out. Who here works out? Strength training, cardio? Let me know because that's going to be a little bit different with my recommendations. If everybody's strength training, I'll just talk about strength training. Let me know. Do you guys work out? What do you do? Both. Perfect. Yeah, C-jump. Both. Anybody else? All right, so we're going to talk first with, let's say, strength athletes. So this was something that was actually quite new to me in the last, maybe 3 or 4 months, and thanks to Dr. Stu Phillips. Yes, weight training and cardio from Martin. Perfect. You guys are doing both. That's awesome. It's definitely good to have a balance as opposed to just doing one, but one is better than none. So let's talk about strength training. Now, something that I thought, again, from Dr. Stu Phillips, he kind of presented this to us, and it was eye-opening because I always thought if you're weight training, you needed more protein to replenish cells and everything else. And this is kind of a cool tip. So get that heart button ready. So if you are a strength training athlete and you're eating enough protein day in and day out, your body actually becomes accustomed to burning and to actually, sorry, burning wasn't quite the right word, but your body becomes accustomed to using protein in all its processes within the body and becomes using more efficiently. So you may not need as much protein long term, which was kind of cool because I didn't know that. And that's just kind of recent, I think in the last couple of years at least. So that's great knowledge. If you guys like that, yeah, heart it up, guys. I see the hearts. Thank you so much. All right. So that's that. If you are, say, an endurance athlete, again, you probably don't need as much protein because protein isn't going to provide you the energy to get through your race. You need a little bit more carbohydrates and fats. And for my athletes, I prefer to go more on the carbohydrate side. That doesn't mean there's no fat. It's just the percentages are maybe a little bit higher than my fat. But I also have athletes who flip that and they do just as fine. So it really depends on you and digestion. And that's what nutrition is all about, man. That's why I have a problem with all these, different gurus out there with books, high carb this, low carb that, paleo, vegan, whatever these, extremes are, black and white. We always tend to fall somewhere in the middle, and that's just basically, that's life, man. That's who we are. We're all different. So, all right. So that's some myths right there. Who here takes BCAAs as supplements? Anybody? Let me know if you take BCAAs. You guys know what those are? Branch chain amino acids, lysine, isoleucine, valine. Yes, I do. No. Okay. CGEM does. CRC does not. Anybody else? CGEM, did you used to take those when, let's say like 3 or 4 years ago, when they tasted absolutely horrific? Yes, BCAAs every day from Martin. Awesome. 3 times a day. Oh, Martin, I hope to God they taste good, man, because I remember when I first started taking them, they were horrible. Pill form. I have a crazy story about pill form. I was in Vancouver back I want to say 2009, and it was kind of in the beginning of BCAAs, or at least to me it was. There was no flavors yet, okay, it was just straight up BCAAs, whether it was pill or powder. And I took a few pills after training, and I'm driving home, and I had a hiccup. And I basically hiccuped powder all over my dashboard on my car. It looked like if anybody pulled me over, it looked like I was like snorting cocaine. Just a little scoop I had to weigh in pre-workout. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, BCAAs have come a long way, man. Come a long way from when I started taking them. And then if you took the powder and you stirred it, it never actually absorbed in with the water. It would just kind of stay on top, and it was just gross as you're drinking it down. You got this white foam on your mouth. It was not pretty. Nisi, I believe that's Nisi. Welcome to the scope. And let me know where you're from, by the way. Yeah, you remember that too? Definitely. It was gross, man. It sounds horrible. It was horrible. All right, so the only time I would recommend BCAAs, so let me know if this is you. I think it was CGEM was taking them, Martin was taking them. If you guys are getting adequate amounts of protein per day, you really don't need BCAAs, okay? You could pretty much, from Texas, welcome. Thank you so much. I know weather down there is a lot better than it is here. You don't need BCAAs. It's kind of a waste of money right now. So if you are matching your protein, are you getting your protein requirements? Like I said, 1 gram per pound, that's roughly where you're at, maybe 0.8. You really don't need to take it. Save some money, man. Now, if you're plant-based, BCAAs, I have pretty much all my clientele who are plant-based on BCAAs. It seems to help because they don't get as much protein, and that's fine. That's normal. And that's pretty much the only time. If you are into intermittent fasting, even if you are matching your protein, you could take them then. But like I said, if you're matching your protein even through intermittent fasting, you don't really need to take them. So if you guys who are taking them, don't need to, hey, I saved you a few dollars. 1 bag from Myoprotein lasts me forever because they are just 5 grams per scoop. Yeah, it does, but in the end, it's still money down the drain if you're matching your protein. But if you're not, keep taking them, my friend. All right. That's pretty much all I have for protein today, why it's important. I hope I've convinced you for that. If you guys like this Periscope, I keep calling it a podcast, give me some hearts right now, and don't forget to slide on over, hit share on Twitter. You're going to obviously help some friends and family, especially if they're in Canada and they read that stupid article from Macleans, which was just a bunch of BS. You're going to look like the smart kid, and I'm here to help you look like the smart kid. All right? Guys, have a great day. Check out nathanjackson.com if you haven't. Sign up, and I give you a 3-video series to amplify your life. Today we just talked about nutrition, but I'm going to talk about strength training, restoration, and mindset, and these are all important things no matter what your goals are, whether it's fat loss or not. Are you a qualified nutritionist? This is my first time. Yes, I am. And bye. Thanks so much. CJ, thank you so much. Have a great day, guys. Take care.